Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. July 23rd, 2021 edition. Lance, good to see you. We have this just in. We have news. You know how to get back to us. Lance, let's bring that up right away. We just got the PowerPoint and what's going on with SBA. And this just came out today, I guess. Go ahead, Lance.
Well, SBA, first of all, they have been working on a direct forgiveness portal for, I don't know how long they've been working on. I've known about it for about 30 or 40 days, Bob, but the direct forgiveness portal is going to be a tremendous asset to every PPP lender. Any PPP loan under $150,000, those borrowers will be sent an email request from SBA to come into the direct forgiveness portal and apply for forgiveness. And 93% of your loans, and depending on the quantity that you did, it's going to take a very large load off you as a PPP lender in terms of the forgiveness process. And we, all of us, Bob, probably thought forgiveness would not be as much work as it is. So this is a tremendous thing that SBA's done. The other thing they have done on the second draw PPP loans. Now, guys, if I could help you understand how they're doing this, there's some weird science behind it, but if we all remember on second draw loans, the borrower had to have experienced a 25% revenue reduction to get a second draw PPP loan in any quarter or the annual 2020 versus 2019. Well, one of the challenges with forgiveness, especially with the direct portal, Bob, is that's going to require a lot of uploading of documentation from PPP borrowers. Right now we're going through this process, Bob, where SBA is asking for all sorts of documentation from us to process 2020 forgiveness. I think they're trying to avoid the same problem themselves, and they have developed a COVID revenue reduction score. Have no idea, Bob, because when we did the second draw loans, they were not required to submit as part of the application the proof. They were required to keep it and submit it, Bob, with their forgiveness application. So apparently we as participant lenders will be able to go into the portal and see the COVID revenue reduction score. There's going to be a minimum score that they have to meet, and please don't ask me, Bob, what that is, because I'm not sure right now. But if they meet that minimum score, no documentation will be required in the forgiveness process of a
well, I guess it's not what we want, but I guess it's a start. Would you agree with that?
I think it's a great, well, they should have had some tools like this in 2020 forgiveness, Bob.
Well, but obviously, this would be great. Go ahead, Lance.
Well, but I think with the development of the direct forgiveness portal, Bob, I think that reducing the number of times a borrower has to upload something will make the process much smoother. I don't know if that is why SBA did this, but I think the end result is it'll make the process go smoother for SBA, the participant banks, and the borrower. So both great things in helping us to get through the forgiveness process. Now, Bob, depending on the number of loans, you have, that 7% still going to be a lot of work for some of us in the forgiveness of loans that are not under 150, of loans that we will have to process the way we did the 2020.
Lance, do we know when this score is effective? Is it effective today? Is it effective in the portal fully open?
Bob, give me 1 second.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to look in the forgiveness portal and see if I can see a score.
All right. How's
real-time
reporting?
Okay, Bob, I don't see any yet. But
All right.
my expectation, Bob, is it will roll out at the exact same time as the forgiveness portal will, direct forgiveness portal. So, but again, I think it's a great thing. It reduces the amount of paperwork that a borrower has to gather and submit. And see, if you don't have an SBA, very smart on their part, if you don't have a participant bank in between the borrower, there's so many documents. We get a forgiveness application and we have a category called borrower action required, where we're going back and saying, well, you didn't send us everything you needed to.
Right.
I think this COVID revenue reduction score, Bob, is an effort to avoid some of that. The borrower submits an application but doesn't have enough information, and I think it will help.
Yeah. So to recap on this, it's going to happen. If you're above, we'll have to score. If you're above or below it or whatever the metric is, you're good to go. If you don't meet it, don't worry. You just need to supply the normal documentation. Is that a fair assessment?
And Bob, I hate to, and then I'll be quiet. Another key point on this slide, guys, is your 2020 borrowers that got loans in April of 2020, guess what? They're going to have if they have not gotten forgiven or they have a leftover balance that was not forgiven, they're going to have payments in September. So statements, yeah, that's quick.
Let's go to the next slide. And this is just more information. We don't have the details, obviously, but the takeaway is there will be some type of score. Obviously, you're going to want to opt in. There's no reason I can imagine of not opting in. And it's going to be for loans less than 150. Fair enough?
Well, here's the thing, Bob. The score, my comparison, we all know the SBSS score. I'd love to see the formula for this, Bob, how it's calculated.
Well, you're not going to see it. They're not going to. It's the black box algorithm that.
Bob, right now I don't. Even if I could see it, Bob, I don't have enough time to figure it out.
Next slide, Michael, please. And there's a great, I'm sure you can read it all, the portal itself, and that's what it's going to look like, Lance.
That's exactly, and I think the neat thing, I can't quite see it, it's small, but you have a direct forgiveness submission platform where we will be going in to apply our lender decision, and underneath that are a guaranteed purchase platform, the button right under that, and below that is actually the button for guaranteed purchase submission. So
we have included this entire handout in the chat box. Yep, there it is. So if you just feel free to download it from there. And as we said, this came out directly from SB this morning.
See, now, Bob, one thing I'm hoping is we have to review every submission and approve. So that's still going to be quite a bit of work. Well, taking a quick look at it and approving it for
we're going to
a
talk
lot
about earnings, and the bank needs to do their earnings. And I know the CFPB is sniffing around on, they're looking at where brokers adequately compensated, where bankers get too much money. So you're going to earn your money. Number one, we have some poll questions we want to talk about in anticipation of Lance's webinar next week. You can unilaterally increase the amount of an SBA 7A loan prior to closing by 5%.
Tricky question, Bob.
Oh, they all are, Lance. Come on. Tricky means you can probably answer either way and get it right. Go ahead, Lance.
Depends on how you process it. If it's a PLP loan, you can do that. You have to make the appropriate changes in E-Tran, and you have to make sure and document your file properly. If it's done GP, you're going to have to go to the processing center for approval.
Okay. And it's 5% threshold. What happens if they need 12%? What do we do?
Well, again, if it's
New loan?
GP, I'm sorry?
Would you just do a new loan, companion loan?
Oh, no. No.
No.
No, well, it depends on the size of it.
Yeah.
Here's something I want to share with people, and I'll be quick about this. A thought I've always had. It's always smart to have a companion SBA Express loan with the 7A loan, revolving working capital loan, or quite often you can avoid the issues with needing to increase a loan if you do a companion loan. Plus, it helps you to make sure and properly meet SBA's requirement that you've looked and determined that they have adequate working capital. So
we have a borrower who has a tax lien. What do we do as the lender in closing the 7A loan? Do we pay the lien off directly with lender proceeds?
if there's a tax lien, that needs to be.
Hold on. It's a poll question. Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was a question, Bob.
We're not there yet. Here, you got 4 answers. We can pay it off directly. We disperse it under working capital. We ignore it because you cannot pay off payroll tax liens with SBA loan proceeds. Or, it's a red flag. We have to decline the entire loan. How do you like that question, Lance?
My actual answer would not fall in those 4.
Okay, well, what is your answer?
Before I would ever consider approving this loan, I would require the borrower to completely satisfy the tax lien.
There you go. Yeah.
So, the most correct answer is that the loan needs to be declined until the payroll tax.
Okay, hold on to that. Let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
One step ahead of you. Here you go. How long must a payroll lien release be filed before you can approve or fund a loan? Is that a better question for you, Lance? Immediately, 30 days, 6 months. Lien was in effect at the time of the application. The loan must be declined. All right, Lance, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to want the lien to be released for 30 days prior to approving the application.
Okay. But it's silent in the SOP. That's a prudent lending decision, right?
Yeah, the SOP does. One thing the SOP would say about this is you cannot use SBA loan proceeds to pay a tax lien.
But notice what Lance did. Lance took the base of the SOP, said, well, I'm going to be prudent. I'm going to wait 30 days.
Yeah, I like to, and let's face it, guys, sometimes you'll work with a customer and they may have a tax lien.
Yeah. All tax lien means it's a red flag, which means it needs to be stop, assess. We need to resolve it. That's all it means.
Yeah, and so if you stop and say, hey, Bob, you've got a payroll tax lien. I need you to take care of that. And Bob goes out and takes care of it and sends me notification from the state of California that he's paid it. In 30 days, I'll reprocess the loan and consider approval at that point.
And I imagine you're also going to be dollar sensitive. A $300 tax lien you're going to look at differently than a $175,000 tax lien.
Well, and the other thing is past due payroll taxes is very problematic. So you need to take a hard look. Payroll taxes are not the business's money. That's the employee's money.
Right.
And so past due payroll taxes are a big issue.
Right.
And it needs to be clear.
And that's what Delaney, come on in here. She is going to Indianapolis to cover the trial of Carrie Agee. And this is exactly what they are alleging, that there was a payroll lien release and their email said, oh, we can't pay it off, but let's just put it into working capital, allegedly. And that's a false statement to SBA. But we got some other fraud stories. So you're going to report to us on Monday, Delaney?
Yes, I'm thrilled. I'll be right outside the Indianapolis courthouse.
All right. Well, that's a new one for Coleman Publishing, and we look forward to that. Real quick, you're making money. That was our headline. Read John Riosi's article in American Banker. It's very, very good. Understand also, I would encourage you to read, I think it was in the Wall Street Journal, about Elizabeth Warren and the CFPB, and they're looking at these fees, and they're going to be doing a Monday morning quarterbacking hearing on this. But let's go to your. We got time for two of your favorite fraud stories. What happened? What did this guy? These numbers are boggling. He had no companies, right? Right, Delaney? He no employees.
No, so he applied for 27 different PPP loans worth $27 million spread across 8 of his companies. So he claimed each of these companies had 100 employees and his payroll was roughly $4,800,000 a year, but there were no employees and no payroll. So
he did get $3 million. And what did he do with the money? Was he a good citizen and give it away to homeless shelters?
I'm sure you could guess he was not a good citizen. So he used it for cash withdrawals. He paid off some credit card balances, some transfers, and maybe a couple luxury items.
There's got to be a car.
Do you know the car?
No, I'm not sure of what car it was, but
he had a luxury car in there. Yes, I mean it's. Anyway.
Yeah, something about those luxury cars. They all seem to want them.
Well,
this has got to be a 2020 PPP loan.
And go to one more fraud story. What did our former Wells Fargo? I'm sure our friends at Wells Fargo love the title, but hey, it is what it is.
So there was this scheme with 2 movie producers, and they were telling various people that were searching for funding that they would match dollar for dollar to support their movies or plays or whatever type of show they wanted to put on. But instead, whenever these victims were giving them the money, they transferred it to one of their personal bank accounts immediately, and that money was never seen again. So this man right here, he helped out with this fraud by pretty much formulating fake bank documents just to make these victims feel confident in it.
No.
So even after he was fired from Wells Fargo, he continued to create these.
If it works once, it works again.
Yeah.
Look, we talk about celebrity worship. Do not fall into the trap of celebrity worship with respect to stars. NFL, Major League. What percentage of the NFL players go bankrupt, Lance?
I don't know what the percentage is, Bob, but one of my favorite memories in liquidation is I had to foreclose on a house of a movie star that I loved his movies at one point. And it's kind of heartbreaking.
The question is, what happens to all these people you turn the loans down to? They go to Hollywood and they make movies, and people, it's shiny objects, and boy, there's just be careful. And that happened with Nick Patel. He was involved in financing movies, and here we're financing Broadway shows, and obviously it wasn't there. Let's see. We got one more time for one more, Joseph or Michael? Here we go. 22. Here we got the luxury cars. Go ahead.
Yes, 22 different people. So recently, 17 more individuals were charged. So far, 6 have pled guilty. But they applied for PPP loans for 14 different businesses. And these loans range from $700,000 to $850,000. So they got caught, and they seized $4 million, 4 luxury cars, and jewelry from these people.
Very good. We should file a Freedom of Information Act, find out where these luxury cars are going. No,
where are the cars? Hey, my first job out of college for me was with FDIC. And my first position was I was in charge of other assets. So I had to take care of the bank cars, and that was the cool. I was only 22 years old. That was cool.
That was cool. Anyway, Lance, real quick, what are we talking about on Wednesday?
We're going to talk about how to accurately complete the new SBA Form 1050 and properly document your disbursements, which is critically important, especially if you have an early default loan, but if you have a default on an SBA loan and have to present for guaranteed purchase. So an important part of proper Underwriting closing of your SBA loan, an important part of getting your guarantee paid.
Yeah, and obviously that's going to be with the settlement sheet, and we have to make sure those three things match: the credit memo, the loan authorization, and the settlement sheet. And Lance is right. We want to do that anticipating a guaranteed purchase. So that's a great way to do it. Very good. Lance, thank you, everyone. Have a nice weekend. Delaney, safe trips to Indianapolis. We'll see you Monday. And thank you today for joining us for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great weekend.
Have a nice weekend.